Hi everybody, it's Paula here from the Excel Club and welcome to today's video. Today I have something a little bit different for you. I have been talking with David from Excel Consulting, a fellow MVP. He only recently became an MVP this year, and together we've been having a little chat and we are going to show you some videos on charts. Hey David, how are you?
I'm great, Paula.
Good. How does it feel to be an MVP, David?
It's really good. I became an MVP in February, so not very long ago. It's really awesome to be sort of recognized for the amount that I love Excel. And for me, it's not just Excel. I love PowerPoint, I love Outlook and Teams, and even non-Microsoft stuff like Google Sheets. But I'm a big fan.
Trader.
So yeah, I really like it. You're connected to the community. There's an overwhelming number of emails, but we get access to really cool pre-release features and ideas that we're not allowed to share. But it's really cool that they hear our feedback and listen to us. How is it for you?
Yeah, so I'm really new in the MVP circle, only a couple of weeks. I feel a little bit out of my league at the moment. Like there's so much going on, and yeah, but we get all these additional features and we get to see what's going on, which, as you said, we can talk about. But yeah, pretty amazing actually. I wasn't expecting to get it now, to be honest with you. So it came as quite a surprise.
Yeah. Well, actually, what is an MVP for people who might not know?
Most valued professional.
Yes.
So it's for people that, like yourself, that are continuously blogging, producing videos, helping the community and stuff like that. So it's just an award that recognizes the contribution to the community around the Microsoft products.
Yeah. And it's a really cool thing to be a part of. And you know, I've gotten to know sort of people only on email because I'm in Cambodia right now, which is where I have my business. So it's a great place to live. I really enjoy it. But it's not where the technology is advancing at the fastest pace. So it's nice to be connected with people all over the world. There's, people from Latin America, North America, lots and lots in Europe, as you would expect, and Africa, Asia, Australia, just all over the world. We're just connected, so it's nice.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your business, David?
Yeah, so I run a company called Excel Consulting. As my email up on top of my virtual background. And we help small businesses and nonprofits with data analytics and a lot of corporate training, mostly Excel. I've taught about 2,000 people in Excel over the last 7 years, but also I love PowerPoint, so teaching a lot of that and email and task management courses. Plus we're general Microsoft partners, so we resell licenses and we do a lot of like implementations and adoption in Office 365, which has now become Microsoft 365.
Rebranding, everything gets renamed.
Yeah.
The Insiders Edition is now the beta channel. It's hard to keep up with the changes. I was doing a presentation only this week on rich data types, and when I submitted the presentation title of rich data types, they were called rich data types, and the following day it changed to linked data types, and all the notifications had gone out that it was rich data types, and then it was rebranded. So we're faced with a lot of rebranding. Sorry?
I mean, I think data types anyway is kind of a silly name, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a hard one to name. What would you name it?
What would I name it? Data entity, maybe? Library?
Connected library?
Yeah. But
I would have the connected or something like that in there because you need to be connected to the web to be able to use it.
Yeah. No, but it's really cool. Actually, I'm doing a webinar next month with Power BI Days in the Netherlands where I'm talking about the Power BI linked data types. And I've actually managed to get like COVID-19 data through Power BI feeding through to my Excel.
Nice.
So it's, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice, nice. And you also have an accounting background.
Yes, I am a chartered accountant from the UK, and so I do blogging for the UK Accounting Institute, the ICAW, more or
I
less
think that
once
would
a
be
month.
familiar with many of my followers. Quite a lot of them would be in the finance industry, so they would probably be familiar then with some of the content that you've published there.
Yeah, and some of the stuff that I do is Excel focused. I have a series on Excel versus Google Sheets, and I'm also doing every quarter. I'm doing what's new in Office 365, which is everything and anything. So that's
Quite a
cool.
lot. Is that on Insiders or what has actually been released in the live version?
It's a combination. When it's an insider feature, I state it's insider feature. Otherwise, yeah, it's a combination of everything. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Insiders feature?
Ooh.
Putting you on the spot.
Yeah. Stock history. Yeah.
Oh, I so love stock history. Yeah, I am a big fan of the new stock history function. So that's on the Insiders edition. I am a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of it because I had previously used APIs to connect to different exchanges to extract information, and I no longer need to use an API. I can just use an Excel formula. And some of the APIs that I had been using were previously free, and then they converted to paid models. And I know quite a lot of people that would follow my content would have picked up on the API stuff and would have been following the API tutorials. For them to have changed and them to become paid services, and me there going, oh lads, I'm so sorry. To be able to come out and say, well, hold on, we've got stock history coming in now. I love the stock history function.
Yeah, although secret, Google Sheets has had stock history equivalent for years, and it's better.
Yeah, so I believe. Yeah.
It's pretty good. And actually, one of the things I showcase about Google versus Excel is how it can work with stocks and exchange rates. I think if you're an accountant, exchange rates are so important. Average exchange rates, historical ones, and I think that stock history does it well, and that will be a real saving grace for accountants.
So is the feature in Google Sheets better?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
In what way?
So it can give multiple results, like which Excel can't, like 52-week high, 52-week low, trading volumes, things like that.
We can get them from the data types,
but not historical.
No, okay, not historical. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, historical within data types, you can get the 52-week high and 52-week low on foreign exchanges and on stocks.
Yes, but there's a lot of other things like PE ratios, dividends, that Google does, but also because I'm showcasing this in an upcoming webinar, but because of other stuff that Google does better, like Sparkline is a function in Google Sheets, which means you can nest in stock history, and then you can get a Sparkline of the stock history.
Oh, nice.
Plus pivot tables update automatically, so you can have your core data, but then you can have also broken down by quarter, by month, by year, built on top of that updates based on it. With Excel, you'd have to click refresh every time you do something different to a pivot table. So
have you got videos on any of this on your YouTube channel?
I do, yeah, I do, yeah.
Well, what we'll do is we'll stick a card here in the video, and we'll link straight back to your YouTube channel. So anybody that's watching can hop straight over and explore all that a little bit more. Maybe you'll give us a link, add in a link as well for, do you have a particular video on these stock things in Google Sheets?
Yes.
We'll put a link into that as well. So there'll be a general link here. If anybody wants to click into it, that'll bring you over to David's YouTube channel. And we'll have another link in there as well that will bring you to his video on the stock features in Google Sheets. Does that sound good with you?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So we're going to look at some Excel charts today.
Yeah, we're going to focus on what I call modern visualizations. I use the term modern to mean something that's been released in the last 10 or so years. I think that, although I'm not sure about the stock chart, actually. I think that might be older. But yeah, there's a lot of newer ways to visualize data and more comprehensive ways to visualize data that Excel users might not be aware of. So that's what we're going to show today.
So what's the first chart you're going to show?
So I really love the Pareto chart. It's basically a pre-built pivot chart without having to go through a pivot table that automatically sorts it as well. It does the traditional Pareto-ness, which is having a line, a cumulative line, but you can remove that and just use it as an automated pivot chart that is automatically sorted, that I really love.
Okay, well, let's hop into Excel and we will take a look at that example.
I find Pareto charts are a hidden gem in Excel's data visualization. So it's effectively a bar chart that's already pre-sorted, and it can aggregate things like a pivot table can. So for example, here, if I sum together France is 687, France here is 687, and I didn't have to create a pivot table in between to do that. The default one also comes with something called a Pareto line, which is a cumulative line. So it adds Spain and France together, make up 80% roughly, and then UK gets to 100%. However, I often clean it up and just put less things in it. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So if you are going to create this sort of arrangement with a sum, it's kind of easy. With a count, you just want to use a hack to have a count column that just has ones. And I'm going to even add a slicer to this, which is pretty cool. So first I'm going to make this into a table to allow a slicer to be possible. So select it and then go to Insert Table. Just press OK there. Really great feature that's not used very much. And then I'm going to select the country column, Control Shift down, and select the count column by holding down Control. Make sure you include the title, and then you can go to Insert and then choose this Pareto chart is in the statistical chart under histogram. So it's already sorted it and it's already put it there and put this in. So I'm going to just clean it up, click there, press delete, click the lines, press delete, and the primary axis, also press delete. This Pareto line, I can't delete it, but I can right click and format and then give it no line. And then this I can right click and format, and I like to give it just the 30%. I can then also add data labels like that. I can format them to get them inside and white like this, but let's keep it that way for now. I'm going to insert and add a slicer of the weekday. So now I've got these two. I can click on that, control click on that, and cut. Go to a new page and paste. Now this slicer is actually linked to the chart. Isn't that cool?
Okay, that was a really great example there, David. The first visualization I'm going to share is on data bars. Now, data bars aren't exactly a chart, but they're an alternative to using charts. It's a great way to visualize columns of data as a whole because they will show the bars compared to other bars within the column. So let's have a look at this now in Excel. The data bars are a great alternative to using standard charts in Excel. They allow you quickly highlight and spot values within a series, within a table, within a column, especially when these columns or these series of data can be very large. I have a small sample of data here, and we're going to apply some data bars to the data we have here. So I'm going to select our sales column, and from the home ribbon, if we go to conditional formatting, we have the data bar options. we have the options for gradient fill and solid fill. In this case, I am going to select a blue gradient fill. Now you see that this has populated the cells with these blue bars, and the blue bars show the relative value of a cell compared to the rest of the cells. Now you can change how these data bars show up. If we go into conditional formatting and manage rules, and if we select our data bar rule and select edit rule, this brings us up our format rule box. And from in here, we can change how the formatting of these data bars actually shows up. One of the things we can do is select a minimum and a maximum value. You can select the lowest value, the number, the percent, formula, percentile, and automatic. Let's put in a number and let's start at 1000. So the minimum value that we want to show with a data bar should have a value of 1000. And then the highest value, I'm going to select as the highest value. Now we can also change the color of the border around these. So let's make the color of the border a darker blue. And we see we get a preview here. Now we can also from within here change the bar direction. At the moment it's going in context, but you can select it to go to specifically say right to left or left to right. Right to left will align it from the opposite side to what it's aligned at the moment. So we'll say okay, and now we have our data bars only highlighting the values that are above 1000, and the data bars are also aligned from the left to the right. Now there are other ways to use data bars. Data bars are great for visualizing positive and negative values. Our profit column here has both positive and negative values. So if we go into our data bars, and this time I am going to pick a solid fill. Now we see when we put in our solid fill that our red data bars appear showing our negative values. I'm going to go in and I am going to manage the rule for this. And this time I am going to show bars only. Now, if you're not too fussy about showing the actual values behind the data bars, by showing data bars only, what you're going to do is you are going to remove the numbers. Now, the numbers are still within the cell, but you can't see them, and the data bars are still based on the values. I'm also going to add a border around these. So I'm going to put a solid dark green border around all of these and select OK. And now we see that the values have gone, but we can quickly see which has profits, which has losses, and then how large or small the profit or loss actually is relative to the other cells by the size of the actual data bars.
Yeah, wow, that was really great. Thank you for sharing that. The next one that I'm going to show is, I like to think of it as somewhat related. I often combine data bars with this next feature called Sparklines. I combine them I call them in-cell charts. And actually Google Sheets puts data bars as one of the things you can do within the Sparklines function. So Sparklines is a little line chart to show a trend in a cell. And it's very, very easy to use and very practical when you just like looking at trends. So let's look at that.
I really like Sparklines. They're these sort of in-cell charts like this, and they're pretty easy to do. So let's get rid of them first. So click Sparkline and then clear selected Sparkline groups. And now let's add it from scratch. So select your data, go to Insert and choose Sparklines. So not this line chart, but this line chart. Location range is going to be here. Enter. And because it's in a cell, I can very easily just do this. I can also tick on markers. I really like using this one. The other formatting things here I don't tend to use. You can change the color here or use a style. But what's worth pointing out is that in this case, I'm only actually going from 530 to 533, but the change looks as drastic as it does in the others. That is because Sparklines are used for trends, and that's sort of why they were built. If you go to Sparkline here, and you want to change that, you can go to Axis, and you can choose Same for all Sparklines. And then it does show it as a near straight line, which it effectively is. Or you can go to axis and custom value and set it to start at 0, which gives even more of a straight line idea there. But I don't tend to do that. I just go to automatic for each sparkline, like that. Another sort of gotcha with these is it doesn't work with hidden. So if you decide you want to hide or group, then the sparkline goes away. You can easily work around that by clicking on sparklines, edit data, hidden and empty cells, and tick this box. Show data in hidden rows and columns. Sparklines by default are grouped. You can ungroup them in this menu. And if you want to get rid of them, pressing the delete button doesn't work. You need to clear them like this, either one by one or by the group as a whole, as I showed you at the beginning of the session.
That was really brilliant. I like them little sparklines. I think they're really, really useful. We're going to look at now, I think we will hop in and have a look at the waterfall charts. This next chart I'm going to show you is a waterfall chart. And a waterfall chart is a great chart for showing opening to closing balances, or the movement within a particular account or an income statement or balance sheet items. I have here a simple income statement. We have sales, cost of goods sold, gross profit, expenses, profit before interest and tax, interest and profit before tax. Now you'll note on this income statement that the negative values, the cost of goods sold, the expenses, the interest, any negative values for a waterfall chart must be shown as negative values. Positive values must be shown as positive values, and you also must be able to identify totals. Totals in this case would be the gross profit, which is sales minus cost of goods sold. It would also be profit before interest and tax, and it would be profit before tax. So you need to know when you're setting up a waterfall chart, what are your inflows, what are your outflows, and what are your totals. Let's select this little sample of data, and we will go to the insert ribbon. And from the insert ribbon, we can then select the waterfall chart. Now I'm going to make this chart a little bit bigger. So what you'll notice with this chart is that what it doesn't do is recognize your totals. So we have to manually mark columns that are totals as totals. This will then bring them down to the actual baseline. So we have sales, which is a cash inflow. We then have our cost of goods sold, which is a cash outflow. So this is a negative balance. So this column here, our gross profit, should start at the bottom of the table here. So what we'll do is we will select the actual column itself. We will format the data point. And from our format data point options, we will set this as a total. And we'll see now that it has dropped down to the bottom of the actual waterfall chart. And we need to do the same with our profit before interest and tax. And then we also need to do it for our profit before tax. Now we have a waterfall chart set up that is much easier to read. We have our totals now in grey. We have our cash inflows, we have them in blue. And our cash outflows, we have, or our outgoings, we have in orange. We can delete the legend and we can change the chart title to income statement. And we can take our legend down the bottom here, and I'm just going to make them values stand out a little bit more by making them bold, and the same on our axis here. And that's as easy as it is to actually create a waterfall chart in Excel. Now these waterfall charts do have some limitations. You can't individually change the color. You can't customize the different columns. So you can't say, well, I want the inflows to be one color and the outflows to be another and the gross profits to be another, because it does not allow for that. But all in all, the waterfall chart in Excel is a great chart.
Wow, that was great. Yeah, I love waterfall charts. I think they're really good for showing the change, as you said earlier. The next one I'm going to show is not quite a chart, It's something that came to all of Microsoft Office a couple of months ago. Very, very fresh. And I think it's really awesome. It's stock photos. So
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you would use stock photos probably a bit more in PowerPoint, but they can look really nice as backgrounds when you're looking at dashboards or things like that. And Microsoft has prepaid for thousands of stock photos that you can reuse as you choose. So let's look at stock photos.
Microsoft now has actually put in stock images into Excel, PowerPoint, and Word. In the Insert tab, Illustrations, and then Pictures and Stock Images. So it's so many clicks deep. You get this array of thousands of pre-curated stock images. So you can search for things as you wish, or you can just sort of click on multiple, press Insert, and then use these as need be. Now, this came in only a couple of months ago, so it's only for Office 365 subscribers. The other one that I really like in here is icons. So this uses SVG vector graphics. It's also in the same menu. You can search for things like charts, and then just insert a few of them as you wish. What's great about these, though, is that Excel treats them like shapes, more or less, which means you can completely change the color, the outline, and you can use these in your dashboards and they can match your logos, for example. So they're really, really nice to use for that regard.
Wow, David, that was really, really interesting. Thanks very much for sharing them with us. The last chart that I'm going to share with us, and we were talking about stock history and stock charts earlier on. So I'm going to show you now the stock chart in Excel. So let's hop over and take a look at that. The chart I'm going to show you last is the stock chart. And the stock chart is a very specific chart that's used for tracking the price and the changes of prices between stocks, commodities, foreign exchanges, and stuff like that. Now, I have some stock prices here for the 1st of January down to the end of January for the Alibaba group. What we're going to do is plot some stock charts for this. So first of all, I need to select my data, and then I'm going to go to my insert ribbon, and from my insert ribbon we're going to select the stock charts. Now there's 4 stock charts available, and each stock chart requires you to have the data set up in a specific order. This first stock chart here is the high, low, close stock chart. And see how we didn't get a preview when we basically highlighted over it. We're not getting a preview of the chart. And that's because we've selected the data in a different order. We also have volume and open, which isn't included in this chart. The second chart then is the open, high, low, close. The third chart is the volume, high, low, close. And the final chart is the volume, open, high, low, close. Now you see as we hovered over this one, a sample chart appears for us because it's only this chart that we've selected the data for in the correct order. So we can go ahead there and we can select this chart. And I'm going to make the chart a little bit bigger so you can read it a little bit more. And then we'll explain what is going on in the actual chart. So first of all, we have a dual axis, we have a volume axis, and then we have a pricing axis. The volume are the bars that are shown in the charts here. And then we have the opening, high, low, close points in these little bars here. So these are like little box plots. So the ones going down is where the close price is lower than the actual opening prices, and the clear ones or the transparent ones are where the prices are actually going up. I'm going to delete that chart for a moment, and this time I'm going to select the date. I'm going to select the high, the low, and the close price, and I'm going to go back to our chart here again, and we see now that we have the option for the high, low, and close chart, which just shows the little ticks. Now you can do a lot of formatting on these. You can make these a little bit thicker so you can actually see them, and the little cross in between them you can also make a little bit thicker. So that is the high-low close chart. Let me this time select the date, and we can select the open, high, low and close. Again, we're excluding the volume, and from our insert ribbon, if we select our stock chart, we have our open, high, low, close, which we can now see a preview of. And we can make this a little bit bigger so we can see what's going on. Now, like I said, you can format these shapes a little bit. So if I select all of the up bars, I can change the fill in these to a solid fill. And because it's an up bar, we could go with a kind of green color. And then we could put a solid line around it. And we could make the solid line also a green color. We could then change the down bars too, so that the down bars are showing as a red color. And we can increase the transparency of them a little bit if we wanted to. So there's a lot of formatting we can then do with our stock charts as well to customize them a little bit better for ourselves. Right, yeah. So that's the end of the charts, I think. Have you any more charts to show?
No, that's it for me. I think we've come to a good number.
That's it from me as well. I think there's been quite a lot now in this video for people to take a look at. If you want to replay the video and have a look at them charts again, there's some really, really good tips shared in there. So do take a look at it, at this video again. David, thank you very, very much for having this chat with me today and sharing all these tips. I'll drop that link again in the cards so people can visit you on your YouTube channel and below in the comment section as well.
Yeah, and just so you know, I have a video channel. Just so you know, I have a YouTube channel where I talk about Excel as well as a lot of other applications. So if you're a user of PowerPoint or Teams or Zoom or Google Sheets or Sway, Microsoft Bookings, SharePoint, OneDrive, I have all of this stuff that I cover in my YouTube channel, and the list keeps growing all the time. So feel free to check it out if you want more videos on that.
That's really excellent, because I don't cover any of that sort of stuff. So if I have any questions or anything from any of my followers on that, I'll definitely send them. Please, all of you, go visit David, because he's really a great dude. Definitely well worth checking out his YouTube channel and saying hello to him. David, thank you very much for coming on board here all the way from Cambodia to Ireland. It's been quite amazing. I know many of you watching this missed, we didn't record most of the chat that we had, but we have been chatting here now for quite some time. And it's been much great pleasure. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Have a good afternoon. It's going into my evening, so.
Yeah, well, at the time of recording here, it's only 11 o'clock in the morning, so your evening, our morning, but it'll be probably afternoon by the time this is published and everybody gets to see it. So listen, thank you very much.
All right, take care.
Bye now. Everyone.